try to clear the air. Now the sky is wrong with regret. Letting go that you pay flags. All the silence that keep me coming back. I'm the one that you hated. You know, the one you didn't want to believe. The one that you hated. Take a look at it now. I'm the one that you created. The one that you hated.
Hello and good morning. Happy Sunday morning to all of you guys out there in social media land. Welcome to the big show hosted by me, Jimmy Smith. Alongside of me is my co-host and color commentator, Dwayne Ward.
Howdy.
Hey, so the big show is a podcast where Dwayne and I discuss modern day issues like men's health, masculinity, the hard truth about dating, and what makes a man a man. So let's get the big show started. Dwayne, good morning. How are you doing?
I am north of the little dirt nap area. As of course, I think as everybody is aware, I was a little ill there. I did want to point out a quick
welcome back.
Yeah, glad to be here. A little technical issue. I know. Well, you got a few announcements on some life changes that you've made recently, and I just kind of wanted to point out that your video is a little jittery. I think possibly your PC and your backgrounds on stuff aren't really gelling too well. So I don't know if you can change some resources on the fly, but yeah, you're doing the Max Headroomy thing for the Gen Xers out there. I don't know if you want to mess with. Yeah, it's kind of doing that every, losing a frame here and there. I mean, I'm in full HD.
Oh gosh, I don't really know how to fix it on the fly. I apologize about that. I wonder if it's maybe my internet connection.
That is certainly possible. Let's see. I can send you a quick note of what I think it may be, and you can make decisions on that, and we can go from there. Anyway, yeah, while you're looking at that, so yeah, we got the show today. I was sick. You've had some life changes. Well, yours have been positive. Mine haven't been so much. Went down with the flu, I guess about 2 weeks ago. And I don't know if it was my advanced years or what it was, but it laid me up pretty good for about a week. So, but I'm back at 80-90% and ready to rock and roll. So today's topic. Oh yeah, go ahead.
So I've got this virtual background thing going here right now. I'm not really sitting in a room with a piano, so because I'm in the process of moving.
I mean, you're a.
Let me see if I can.
I didn't know that. I don't know if you could sell the piano. I don't know.
That's the room I'm really in right now.
There we go. Well, and there's there is good reason for the the man cavey look right now. I don't know if you want to kind of go into at least a piece of that and share that with the crowd.
So the reason why I'm in this horrible, cold, empty room right now is because I'm in transit of moving. I am moving to the great state of Texas.
Texas, what up, Texas?
I just couldn't be that far from Dwayne. That's what it is. So I have to at least be 6 or 5 hours away instead of 12 hours away. So
exactly. It's okay.
I've moved to Texas.
You're a Texas guy. So yeah, you actually had some good life events happen that brought you to our wonderful state. And cowboy hats and horses. Have you seen any horses where you're at? Walking down the
I haven't
street
seen horses, but I've seen a whole lot of cowboy boots.
Oh yeah, cowboy boots, hats, and bedazzles and all that stuff. So yeah, welcome.
And trucks.
Oh, and we love our trucks. Yeah, we love our trucks.
My goodness, man. There's so many trucks. Everybody has a truck out here.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, the better half there. Everything is better in Texas. It is.
It's certainly bigger in Texas. I mean, you can drive 6 hours and still be in the state. It's almost like Florida, you know?
Yeah, well, the Florida. Oh, I mean, north and south in Florida. If I remember my geography right, yeah, that's your big. Wow, that's the drive now. West to east, yeah, a little different. And of course, we don't want to get into the specifics of where you're at in the great state of Texas here, but I'm assuming the landscape has changed a bit too, because I guess where you're at before Florida, you turn to your left and there's an ocean. Turn to your right, there's an ocean. Texas is tumbleweed, oil rig. Tumbleweed, oil rig.
Yeah, it's something else. Even the roads out here are a little bit different. It just the way you guys have like these little bypasses where you're on the interstate and then you kind of get off and you drive along a road that's parallel to the one that you were just on, and then if you miss something, you have to drive all the way down and do a turnaround. It's odd. I'm not used to the roads out here, but here I am. So time to level up the life, and you move on to other opportunities, and just kind of keep advancing your life the way that you can. And this time around, the great Texas.
Yeah.
But today, what I figure we talk about is, we talk a lot about masculinity. We talk a lot to the men out there, and we just, we really try to help the men out there be the best, possible men that they can be. And, there are a lot of men that we run across in life where we don't have a whole great outlook on them, perhaps. And then there's a select few of men, we'll call them top tier men or high octane type of men that, we all kind of envy. These guys are tried and true. They've been through the fire. They came out, hardened on the other side, and they're the kind of men that we look at as wise and experienced. They're composed, and these are the kind of men that a lot of people envy. So what I figured we do today is maybe go over some major qualities of some things that you can do to be the envy of other people, to be envy of other men. Because when you look at these kinds of men, they all share a lot of the same traits. They have a lot of the same characteristics. And some of these things out there, whenever you're listening to them, you will also agree, or you might say to yourself, you know what, I do pretty well at that. And that's great. If you do, continue to do it. When you find a trait or a quality that, exudes a high tier type of attitude, a high tier type of man, obviously continue to do that. But if you listen to a couple things a day and you realize that there's areas of opportunity there, and maybe you don't do these things as well or even at all, well, then you want to incorporate those into your life, because those are what makes, some of the most envious men out there, some of the most envious men. And the first thing we're going to go ahead.
Well, I wanted you were mentioning earlier, and I'm going, wow, I'm one of those guys. I don't want to brag or anything, but you said high octane men. And my wife will tell you that I am a high octane man, but I guess I'm a little unclear on what you mean by high octane.
Well,
exactly.
I have a feeling that your definition might be a little bit different than mine, because I can hear a sarcastic joke coming this way.
I'm confused, because I've been a high octane person my entire life, but it never was looked at as a positive thing. So I'm just trying to clarify what you mean by high octane.
I'm talking about the top 10% of guys out there, the guys who exude confidence, the guys who are out there on their grind, following their purpose.
Okay. Oh, I was talking about flatulence.
What were you talking about?
Flatulence, passing gas. Okay. All
Gotcha.
right.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Everything I said, I thought you meant high octane.
If that's the case, I'm sure you're 93. I'm sure you're 93% octane, buddy.
I'm like 98 Mad Dog 2020 proof level, to be honest.
Like jet fuel.
I got the fuel. I'm sorry. I just wanted to clarify. Maybe there's others out in the audience that maybe thought the same thing. They were like, "Hey, I'm one of the guys." But all right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I know one of the things you guys have out there that we did not have in Florida is something called Taco Cabana.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not referring to the Taco Cabana beef burrito high octane type of life that you're referring to.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm talking about more of like the build up your personal infrastructure. It takes 20 years to be this kind of guy.
Okay.
not the you're making Brandy want to go back on a dating app to find someone better kind of octane. That's not the octane I'm talking about.
Okay, I'm glad we clarified that, because I was gonna finish the podcast, go down and go. I'm good.
Yeah,
there's no more improvement here, but okay.
Todd, this is exactly what I'm talking about. His color commentary right there. You can always count on it, 100%. But so let's.
I'm your guy.
There's nobody else can take a phrase of like a high octane and turn it into flagellance.
I'm it. I'm the guy.
That's him. That's the guy right there. So let's talk about some of the major qualities I think that would make a high octane type of guy, a guy that men and other people would actually envy. And one of the first things that you will notice that about these kinds of men, these men again that other people envy, is that these guys exude a great deal of gratitude. That's one of the first things that you'll notice when speaking to these wise and experienced type of men. These are the people who listen to this, well, what I was going to say is there's a lot of people who actually listen to our show, The Big Show, from all parts of the world. If you grew up in a country where you weren't worried about it being bombed or being shot, kidnapped, or enslaved, then you honestly have it better than most people around this world. Be grateful. Be absolutely grateful for what you have and the things that you're being able to acquire. If you've never gone days without food or water, if you've never had to live on the streets, be grateful. Most of us have it so good, Dwayne, that we actually overlook the assortment of pleasantries that we have every single day. And when we overlook our luxuries, we begin to complain about the minor, unimportant things that don't go our way when we want them to. We get mad at things like getting cut off in traffic. We're mad that our favorite sports team didn't win. We're mad that someone said something unpleasant about us on, social media. I mean, come on, seriously. I mean, these are some of the.
We're not able to stream, HD movie out in the boonies at 5G or 6G, whatever the number's up to now. Yeah. First world problems.
Yeah, just first world problems, and when you really look at these things that upset a lot of us, if we were to stop and pause and actually say to ourselves, am I really mad I can't stream in 5G right now? We'd probably feel a little bit embarrassed about ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty embarrassing if you compare it to the daily worries that other people have in this world, So, this is my tip. I mean, people, if this happens to you, then you've honestly become too comfortable. There are millions and millions of people who have it 100 times worse than you and I do. Some of these people are just worried about where the next batch of clean water is going to come from, or how they're going to keep their starving children alive. I mean, that's a lot of what's going on out there in the world. So being ungrateful will never allow you to level up in life, and you'll never be seen as a man that others envy if you don't have that sense of gratitude. The top tier type of men always have a sense of gratitude around everything that they do in life. They've likely experienced many hardships themselves, and they use those hardships as constant reminders on how fortunate they are to be living the life that they do. These men also portray their gratitude in their words. They use it in stories, in meetings, and especially whenever they're teaching other men around them. True gratitude will come from the heart. And when you are genuine, people will not just be able to kind of pick up this gratefulness from your words, but more from the vibration and frequency that we put out whenever we talk. So when you're truly grateful, it is absolutely impossible to be a loser, because you will do everything you can to achieve the potential you were given, and others will pick up on that. So I guess when people listen to these men and they truly sense that they're being sincere, other men respect them for going through so much and still having a level head on their shoulders. You don't even have to necessarily experience hardship yourself to have a level of gratitude for the life around you. Listening to others, watching, learning from the mistakes that others can make can give you a sense of self-awareness, just like going through it yourself can. people will actually pick up on this wisdom and envy the man that you become should you learn this valuable lesson of gratitude. So, it's really important to have a sense of gratitude, because it really exudes through your words and your actions, and of course the frequencies that you give off. So I'm guessing, Dwayne, since you're a high octane man, you're probably all leveled up on gratitude yourself, huh?
Oh yeah, very leveled up on gratitude, and I grew up poor, made something out of myself, had it taken away, and then from there I am rebuilding. So I'm thankful for everything I have on a daily basis. So yeah, very, very grateful.
Also there's some clinical type of benefits to having gratitude. For instance, having a level of gratitude helps reduce depression, strengthens resiliency. There's less chronic pain for those who have a sense of gratitude. It increases, of course, your self-esteem. You're more likely to help others. It improves sleep. It's been known to retain more positive experiences, increase energy levels, reduces feelings of jealousy, and having a sense of gratitude can improve your physical health. So in clinical studies, people who exude that type of behavior actually see a lot of great positive benefits from those who do not exude that type of behavior. So another tip besides gratitude is to be a high value, high octane kind of guy is to be disciplined. The true high quality men out there, the high quality women out there who actually make it to the top and achieve a lot of success are the most disciplined people around. To live life is, as we talked about before in other podcasts, is to live through pain. And the best things in life are not only acquired through hard work and sacrifice, but they're required through a level of discipline. Nothing valuable, nothing worthwhile comes easy. We all know that. And especially for men, we have to grind for everything that we get. This is why you don't see many great, well-behaved and well-educated children. You don't see a lot of physically fit people or financially secure people in abundance, because they're rare. These things take large amounts of discipline and perseverance to achieve them. I'll give you an example. I train at the gym 4 or 5 times a week, every week, without fail, no matter what happens in my life. But let me tell you a secret. I actually do not love going to the gym. I don't crave it. I'd absolutely much rather sleep in for an extra hour than go to the gym. That's the truth. That's the honest truth. But I do it despite how I feel about it. I do it despite whether or not I want to go, because I am disciplined. I put a financial savings goal in place, and no matter what new toy I want to buy, I pay myself first because of my discipline. Whatever number I choose for my financial savings plan, that comes out of my check before I spend anything else for that check on anything, because I'm disciplined. Saving a few bucks, every month may not seem like a lot in the short term, and neither does, spending an hour a day at the gym, but give it a handful of months and especially years, and you'll begin to pull away from the crowd because of your discipline. I think discipline is one of those things that people probably struggle with the most. And I put it towards the beginning on purpose for people to listen to, because I want people to understand that gratitude and discipline, those two things kind of go hand in hand. And you really want to make sure that if you're going to achieve things in life that are anything, that are great, you're going to have a level of discipline. And I wanted to be clear that just because you see people who are doing things over and over again, it does not mean that they actually enjoy to do them. Going to the gym is something I do on a frequent basis, but I'm not a fan of it. I don't crave going to the gym. I crave the benefits that come out of it. I crave how I feel on the inside and how I look on the outside. I'll give you that. But getting up whenever I'm tired, getting up before work, getting up on the weekends sometimes, depending on how the schedule goes, it's not something I really want to do. I don't want to drive all the way down to the gym and hit the weights for an hour and then come home. I'd much rather sit on my butt, to be honest. but you have to do it. You have to challenge yourself, and if you want to pull yourself away from the crowd, away from everybody else, if you want to be that top tier guy, that top tier woman, you're going to have to do the things that other people are not willing or able to do. Make sure you do some things that challenge you. Read a book, join a softball league, take a class, learn an instrument. I don't know, start a fitness routine. Just do something, or even better, do a combination of a couple of those things. At first, what I've noticed when people start some sort of new routine is they see it as fun, but make no mistake. I mean, honestly, after a while doing, you'll get tired of doing it. And you'll get bored of doing it as well. Hell, if you eat your favorite food or drove a Lamborghini every single day, you'd eventually get bored of doing both of those things too. But who cares? Don't do it because you love doing it. Do it because of the benefits that it gives you in your life. And when you don't want to do it any longer, you just keep pushing. Just keep on pushing. You don't have to worry about how I'm going to be able to continue this a week from now, a month from now. Don't think of it like that. Just think about today. Okay. I'm going to do what I need to do to get through today. And then when tomorrow comes, you think about that day. Just whatever needs to get done today, I'm going to get it done. And it's not a bad idea also to maybe do some of the harder things in your day, do them first. A lot of people do that as well, and they see a lot of success. But all the more disciplined people actually move out of their comfort zone and prove to themselves that they can push through the pain, the fatigue, and despite how they feel about it, they do it anyhow. So discipline and, gratitude are two things that I think that can really set yourself aside from everybody else. And if you just do two things out of everything I'm going to teach today, you will absolutely start to pull away from the crowd. For people who are listening in on the podcast today, go ahead and put it in the comments section. What are your guys' thoughts on gratitude and on discipline? Have you noticed the same thing, that some of the higher quality type of individuals exude those things? Do you think I'm off base on this? I want to hear what you guys are saying. Let's go to the comments section.
James's statement here. I found in my older life, right? Preach that I am more appreciative of my blessings. It happens, I think a lot more as you get older. You're able to reflect. You matured a little bit, hopefully, and you're able to look back and think to yourself, I've actually, I've been given a lot to work with, and hopefully, you haven't squandered it or wasted it. But yeah, older in life, you a lot of times you reflect on there and you appreciate that, and you hopefully don't want to turn into regrets.
Yeah.
I did want to apologize real quick. I got some feedback feedback on the show about feedback on the show, and totally my fault. I apologize. It sounded like it had been looping the audio a little bit, and just, I guess, quick disclosure, I run another podcast, Pissed Off Parent, and I redesigned my studio and changed all my audio inputs and all that into one thing. And when I rebooted my PC, something kicked over, and so I believe I have it fixed. I apologize to all the folks out there.
I thought I heard myself talking a little bit.
Yeah, it was doing like a little mini loop. I do a lot of software related stuff, and I've got, for my show, I've got all this interactivity and all these other things that are going on, and so I have it funnel into one main audio track, but I'm pulling in from a lot of different areas, and one unfortunately got duplicated. And I'm probably nerding out here a little too much, but that then resulted in a loop. It wasn't like a full, like the audio was the same level. It was like this, but you could still hear it. So hopefully that should be fixed. I on the fly. That's why I seemed kind of spaced out there for a second trying to update that.
I think it is fixed. I've got friends that are saying, "Hey, you got some feedback issues on your show, and now it's fixed." So
my bad, completely my bad. Yeah. So
I've got my IT friends out there working on our podcast for us, so don't you worry.
Yeah, it was for everyone out there. It's not Jimmy's fault. That was completely my fault, and it's again a result of other stuff that I do on my podcast and other ones. And I've got 8, I think. Yeah, 8 different audio sources from different places that I a lot of my show that I do on my own for Pissed Off Parent has a lot of other media and stuff like that. So I have to like channel it into one thing. And there's ways to do it. And well, I did the updates or did that, but every time I reboot it, sometimes something duplicates and I didn't get a chance to get in there to fix it. But it should be fixed now. And I apologize, but
what about my video problem? Am I still kind of
no, you're
out?
that. Yeah, I guess maybe have a little IT segment in the show. When you use a virtual background, it taxes your PC, and depending upon how beefy the PC is, it can't keep up and process because it's doing real time rendering to make that background. And it's just one of those things. But it happens. It's funny. I mean, Jimmy's beefy, yet his computer isn't beefy enough. So it may be time to,
I'm still on those 1998 Dell computers.
Yeah, but that's one of those first world problems. Here we're in
Good point.
streaming
Good point.
On a broadband connection. I mean, you're of years, I'm advanced years, and some of the folks here. I mean, we didn't even have dial-up when I was younger. You wanted to see a picture. Not that I would ever download a picture off the internet, but it took like 4 or 5 hours, and the mood left by the time I got done downloading.
Yeah, it was just way quicker for Dwayne to go find his dad's Playboy magazines than it was to download stuff off of AOL.
You got it.
Dwayne had to put one of those little CDs that said 100 free hours. He had to put that into the thing and sit there and wait for whoever's picture to come popping up.
Yeah, I think I have the sound for it somewhere that the when the internet would connect on dial-up. I think I have that.
Oh gosh, remember that awful cringy sound?
Oh yeah. Let's see if I can find it. I don't know what happened.
And I bet you anyone who's about 20 years old and younger have no idea what sound that even is.
Well, that's the thing. When you hear the youngins talk about their problems, you're just looking at them like, "Are you kidding me?" Like now we have we're going to go real IT, Chat GPT or the GPT world that is basically an AI engine, and there's a billion things you can do with it, which is awesome. I had Encyclopedia Britannica if I was lucky, and then I had to use the Dewey Decimal System card catalog, and at school that was how I did my research. Whereas now they're like you can literally type in a question and it will code. I do it for coding stuff, but it will code a solution for you or whatever. I mean, the technology we have is amazing today, and these darn kids, they're sitting there whining that they don't have full HD video out in the boonies of a video. I mean, it's insane. What? First world problems. Anyway, sorry, big old IT.
Yeah.
Rant there.
Look at this comment. Look at this comment right here. Yeah, hey, it's a quick show. Double burrito equals high octane. Okay, cool. See you guys next week. Great show. That's the only advice. I could have started and ended with that advice, and we could have just moved on to the next one.
Exactly.
So while I'm thinking about it, tell everybody what Pissed Off Parent is, when you air, and what the show's about.
Pissed Off Parent. I'll give you kind of the Reader's Digest version. I'm Pissed Off Parent, and not my first time at the old marriage bat. I'm a 3-time. I don't want to say loser because one, I'm still married to. I have a wonderful wife. This go around, though it took a couple mulligans to get it done. Married 3 times total, and I went through the court system. Now that you're in Texas, we'll probably have to chat about that if you ever decide to go down that path. But anyway, whole separate conversation. But I went through the anti-family court system, and I went in there like 99.99% of people out there with this idea that it was like Matlock and Judge Judy, and it was balanced, fair, the scales of justice and all that stuff. And I then quickly learned that that's not how it works for my first go around. And then, so I'm a data guy. So I started doing research, and I'm like, ooh, what's going on here? Talking about Title 45. I mean, all the pieces now that I know about. And I'm like, okay, well, 1, this information has to get out to the world. 2, I made a promise to my 2 sons that they would not go through what I went through. And so it became a mission for me to educate the world on the issues with the world of parenting, custody issues, divorce, relationships, all those different things. And I've been involved with a few other organizations, and I don't want to badmouth anyone else, but it wasn't for me. And so I'm sitting there talking to my wife, and I'm like, I need to come up with a name. I need to come up with something. I don't like this all the flowery stuff that's out there, because that's just not me. And I'm like, I'm a pissed off parent. I am just pissed off about how crazy this is and what they're doing to our children, to our parents, and all that. And I'm like, pissed off parent. All right, there we go. And
got a ring to it.
Yeah, got a ring to it. It works. Everyone, it's funny, people, some of the same, organizations like, oh, you can't do that because it's flowery. We got to have this. And I'm like, look, that's why it's my organization. That's why I'm the pissed off parent. And so, I designed my logo. Actually, it's again to honor my dad and my grandmother. I even have a tattoo of that. Not the sim. I'm not that committed to pissed off parent, but this is just for my dad and my grandmother. But it just became kind of a thing. And yeah, I stream. I have a podcast on YouTube under Pissed Off Parents. I'm on Roku, Amazon Fire Stick. I of course have a website, pissedoffparent.com. I'm kind of everywhere in all the different social medias, and I do. I'm not really into a schedule yet. It's when new legislation comes out, or there's yesterday I did a show on a temporary protection order scenario reaction to an actual court case. I talk about laws that are passing, issues that are out in the public square all over the world. It's an information edutainment type show. You'll notice that I have a very Gen X theme to the entire show. I'm a red pill guy, and there's Matrix references all over the place. You get to see me acting like a complete goofball through a lot of it, because this is what you get. But yeah, the podcast, the website, all that stuff is pissedoffparent.com, and again, it's a show that is used to educate people so that they don't fall into the same traps that I did, from dating all the way through custody issues, and just trying to make the world a better place while I'm still on this planet. That was a little bit longer.
That's why people need to watch. That's why people need to watch The Big Show, because I will help you guys level up to attract the best kind of quality of woman that you can. And then whenever you're ready to dump her and you're splitting assets, Dwayne can teach you how to take you and all the shit you came in with out of the situation without giving her a damn thing. So, Dwayne's done it 3 times, so it ain't like he's brand new to this.
I've done it. Well, that part of the I've only done that twice. Hopefully, it won't be a third time ever.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, the third one you're still with, right? Yeah.
2 1/4 or 2.1. But yeah, 2 times definitely. I've learned a lot, and I want to share that information with the world and educate them. And yeah, go to this. I have it. It's just in the United States. Although I have information across the world, but as far as like state specific information, I have all 50 states with you can self-help through custody issues or divorce or whatever. And of course, just a full disclosure, I'm not an attorney, thank God. This information is educational to where you can then learn what the system's all about, and then of course have my little twinge on it, my little way of doing things. But the stuff that you teach and talk about is perfect. I mean, it's the peanut butter and the jelly sandwich analogy, because it all does work together, because at the end of the day, and Jimmy, we've talked about this before. I love women. I firmly believe in relationships and all the happiness, but with the environment that we're in globally, we men and women, but men, we need to protect ourselves and look for red flags. It'd be across. Actually, you're in Texas now. There's a show in Dallas called Cheaters. That is right around where you're not. You're not in Dallas, but
I've seen that in Florida.
They have a Florida's edition. Oh wow!
I don't know if they film it in Florida. I mean, but I've seen it's a show, right? A series called Cheaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like in a van or something, and they jump out of the van, and then they run into the hotel room, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing here?"
Yeah, that is. I mean, I actually I watch trash TV religiously.
You do watch a
And,
lot of trash TV.
it keeps. I get so many ideas for. I make videos and documentaries and commercials and you name it. So a lot of social media, and that's where I get my ideas. I'll sit there and listen to someone else's pain, and go, "Oh, I can make fun of that," and then I make something out of it. But that,
Yeah, watching those trash TV things, man. I mean, you really realize, my goodness, there's some morons in this world. The things that people say and do on this TV shows.
it shows just though how because you have I don't want to say gullible, but you have well-intentioned people that then meet someone else and they are psychotic. They lie with no issues, or they have no problem doing it. And one of the things that you teach is to look out for those red flags and to teach
Right.
things to look for and things to be aware of, and then of course how to protect yourself. I mean, everyone knows about the recent soccer player issue that happened about 2 weeks ago. For those that don't know, can't remember the guy's name, but him and his wife of, I think it was 3 or 4 years, they have a child or twins together or whatever. She divorced him and then wanted to take half of his $23 million. I don't know the numbers, but it was like millions of dollars. And it turns out this guy has nothing in his name. He gave all of his millions that he made from soccer to his mom. And so he doesn't own a car, a house, a credit card, nothing. And so when his now ex-wife went after him, and she has 2 or 3 million. I mean, she's a model or whatever. But when she went after him, she wanted half his stuff. Turns out he has no money, but she does. And the judge is saying that he gets half of her crap. Oh, it's
I shouldn't laugh, but I'll be honest. It's just like, guys get screwed so often that whenever they get to be on the other side, it kind of makes you happy. I'm sorry. I actually heard a story not too long ago. There's this older guy. He gets divorced from his wife. It gets raked over the coals.
Yep.
Fast forward a little bit, he meets this younger woman. She's like 30 years younger than him, right? So, he's going after her for the looks and stuff, and she's going after him for the money because this guy's like filthy rich. And they end up getting married. And he always when he tells a story, he says he always knew that one day she would leave him and take all his stuff. He always knew. Fast forward like 25 years, they were married. The day comes, she wants out of the relationship. So now she takes him to court and she wants half of all his stuff, half of all the stuff that she never earned. She wants half of it.
Yeah.
The story. All right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh. The story goes like 5 or 6 years into the beginning of their marriage, they took a vacation down to the DR, the Dominican Republic. I think it was a DR.
I know that.
I could be wrong, but it's down there.
Yes, Dominican.
You know what? You heard the story. And,
I know the story.
And in that country, apparently that's the only country that I'm aware of where one person can file a divorce against the other person without letting them know they're filing a divorce, and also without needing any of their signatures or agreements to file for divorce. And he filed for divorce, and he divorced this woman 5 years into their marriage. She thinks that she's still married to him for the next 20 years. And when she goes to get his assets, the courts go, "You're not even married to the guy," and tells her to freaking pound sand. It ends up being one of the most crafty stories I've heard in a long time. And, the guys in the comment section were just like, this guy's a king. They put the little crown emoji and say, "Here, you drop this,"
And it's sad that we've got to get, because again, me personally, the nuclear family, that family relationship dynamic is one, personally, the most important thing in the world. I love family. 2, for society, that nuclear family is it. But what we have done, which really kicked off in 1969 with Governor Ronald Reagan passing no-fault divorce, has decimated society and so many different things through those actions. And ordinarily, when people would say something like that story, I'd be like, but now, you're like, thank God, because she obviously married him for his money and then wanted the cash prices at the end. And, it's funny when we hear, again, the third wave feminism talking about, powerful and all other stuff they talk about it. You got a guy that's been working, his tail off his entire life, gets to 40, 50, whatever, 30, whatever that number is. And then think about like a race. She wants to come in at the 1 yard line, to use a football analogy, and then they cross the goal together. Then they get everything, and that's just not right. I mean, but with traditional thinking, when you get married, it should be a sharing of assets. But when I hear, like, I listen to Dave Ramsey, and I watch and listen to a lot of stuff, and I see what's out there in the culture. When a woman says the money he makes is ours and the money she makes is hers, that's just wrong. And then actually with the story that you said, and then the story that I was talking about with the soccer player, now women are talking about prenups, which I thought was hilarious. But I would love it to be the way it was in the 1940s, where men and women got married. They had a lifelong commitment. They shared everything, finances, and and again, finances are a big part of the relationship. But I wish we had that, but we don't, because of I would say no fault divorce it was the powder keg and the match that really kicked off. And actually, if you go to Pissed Off Parent, I have a cartoon that lays all of that out. There, I think I'm one of the only people that have that and that type of detail, but it's sad. And going kind of, I guess, pulling us back into the making yourself the envy of all the other men, I would say the gentleman that married in the Dominican Republic, and then the soccer player guy, those are probably guys that we would envy, like, oh man, you guys did it right. You got educated, and you realize what you're dealing with, and then you took precautions and planned to make sure that when you were 70, you're not eating Alpo. Yeah, so I know we've got a big, huge roundabout to pull back. I'm trying to pull. Okay, trying to reel us back in.
This show talks about a whole bunch of things, and guys are, the guys listening to this show right now, they understand what you're talking about. They understand what I'm talking about, and we've all thought about it, and the thing about it is the more you acquire as a man, the harder you work, the more you realize that getting married, at least in America, sometimes is more of a risk than it's worth. Especially when you look at the fact that women will file 70 to 80% of all the divorces. Men are not the ones leaving relationships. Men still move in a traditional way, generally speaking. And part of that traditional way that men move in is not only the provide, protect part of it, but also the duty part of it. And when I talk about duty, I'm referring to there's more men in today's world that understand that every day is not going to be rainbows and sunshines. And men don't stay in relationships because they are necessarily happy. Happiness is not a driving factor of why men will stay or leave relationships. But women will stay or leave in relationships based off of their happiness. Men understand there's a duty to it. I mean, could you imagine what the divorce rate would be if men divorced their wives when they became unhappy? I mean, there are a ton of men out there who have to deal with the emasculation of women. They deal with no sex from women. They deal with the cold shoulder. I mean, there's guys out there that are providing the lifestyle in the home that they live in, but they're sleeping on the couch and not in their own bed. But anyways,
it's funny that you mentioned this. It sounds like you've been on my Pissed Off Parent page. I have a page dedicated, or a page dedicated to women behaving badly. And I would encourage anyone that disagrees with what Jimmy has talked about and thinking that he's just crazy to go to that page on the site and just peruse some of the pictures and videos and statistics and data and all the other fun stuff on there, because it does support that. But we actually do have anecdotal evidence, because 63% of all millennials are not getting into relationships. Marriage is on the huge decline. The tuxedo company, 2 weeks ago, filed bankruptcy because they can't. They can't. I mean, they're not selling enough. The wedding ring or the jewelers or whatever, they huge losses. I mean, we do anecdotally have those numbers of men that would say, I'm going to get I'm going to divorce you, in that number. We're getting it because they're saying I'm not going to get married because there's nothing in it for me. Women aren't the landscape. It just doesn't make sense for men to get married, and the numbers and society is showing those things. And for any of the women that are like, oh, you're a jerk, this is the data. This is not two misogynistic men out here yakking about stuff. This is the response to the overwhelming data, government data and survey, you name it, that show what the landscape and what we should do. I mean, hell, we had that thing that came out beginning of the year or end of last year that the same number of women, the exact same women were quizzed on when is it wrong to cheat on your spouse. And I think it was like 80 some odd percent of women said it was always wrong for a man to cheat on his wife, but only, I think it was 40% of women said that it was wrong for a woman to cheat on a man. I mean, with that type of thinking, it doesn't make sense. And actually, I know we're just way off track here, but I want to pull up Man's comment real quick because he has a fault. I don't know if it's a he. I'm assuming it's Man. We're in 2023, so Man. I don't know if it's like a double negative or it's a guy or a girl. Who knows anymore? But it says here, never marry without a prenup. Again, you got to go to my site and check the stuff out. Prenups are routinely thrown out of court. There's famous cases, normal cases. Prenups, and just education here. Prenups only have to do with assets. They do not have anything to do with child support or children. That those are automatically stricken and kicked out. If you really want to do something within that first week or month after getting married and have it discussed and confirmed, so you don't have to mess with it anymore, is get a post-nuptial agreement. Those actually carry more weight. And by the way, I'm not an attorney. This is just experience, data, and information. Go verify it on your own. But prenups don't do a whole lot. Post-nups are where it's at. So sorry, I couldn't. I saw that. And I'm like, oh, I love to get educated. And again, no knock to Man here, but I want to provide some good information, some for that. For Man to at least go out and do a little bit of research on it, or if he's comfortable in the prenup, take a shot and see where it goes.
Anyway, and so that's okay. So there's unfortunately a lot of reasons why men need to be cautious, and especially the higher quality, higher up the food chain, if you will, that men get to, the more it becomes kind of a bad deal to get married. And it's really sad because by and large, men want to be in relationships, despite what women feel about it. They absolutely do, because 99.999% of all relationships are initiated by men. 99.99% of all marriages are initiated by men. We're the ones that get down on one knee and propose. We're the ones that say, you're my girlfriend or you're not women. Men control access to relationships. So half the country out there are married, and 100%, nearly 100% of all of them were initiated by a man. And the remaining 50%, there's a huge majority of that remaining 50% who are out there looking for their future wife. So men, by and large, want relationships, despite what social media says, despite what TV shows say. Men want to be happy and they want families. It's just that the way that feminism and the way the court systems have played out in America is making it really hard for men to go down that path. So what I oftentimes teach men is to not focus on women, but focus on yourself, focus on your own purpose. Because if you're leveling up and you're chasing your career, you're chasing your purpose, you're chasing your dollar, the women will fall right in line. You can go broke chasing women, but you'll never be without women chasing money. So I'm not saying money's the root of everything, of course not, but it's best for you to make sure that you're focused on what you need to be focused on, because the women will be there if you're in that top of your percent. One of the ways that you can become a man that other men envy, and this is one of the tips that is arguably harder to do, maybe even just as, or sometimes for some people, even harder to do than being disciplined, is to stay on center. Now, what I mean by that is you have this spectrum. You guys have heard me say stay on center many times. You have this spectrum, and you want to remain right there in the middle. It's almost stoic with your emotions. One of the things that men are superior to women in is our ability to maintain control of our emotions. Men have always been more superior in doing that than our female counterparts. And we're kind of expected to control our emotions. And when you see a man that is unable to do so, no one really sees that as a higher quality or a man that people envy. The men that are the wisest, the men who are the guys that we want to be more like, always have a very controlled manner, So the truth about life is going to consistently challenge you. It's going to bring morons and fools into your life to test your patience. We all know it. Don't let these people take you off center. People envy the man that remains calm and composed through times of stress. It's imperative to watch someone remain level-headed during times of heightened emotional controversy or argument. And being rational and grounded when everyone else around you is upset and emotional shows a level of maturity seen in only the highest of the developed type of men. When these situations arise, remember to take a deep breath. Understand that the person in front of you is not in control of their emotions, and their only weapon against you is to get you all wrapped up in your emotions. So don't let them do it. Once you understand that people use your emotions against you, it becomes easier to now not allow them to do it. Tell yourself, this guy or this gal, they're just trying to take me off center because they can't do anything else to me. It's their only weapon against me. So I'm not going to give them the pleasure of taking me off center. And also it's kind of fun to watch them lose their minds when they know they're powerless against you. The hardest situation to win is also the one that I struggle the most with is staying on center with your girl. That's one that I personally have a hard time struggling with, is trying to make sure that you stay on center with your girl. You see, she likely knows all the buttons to push to get you to dance that emotional dance that she wants you to do. She knows how to insult you. It's true, man, isn't it? I mean, it's absolutely true. I mean, your chick, your chick knows how to even insult you without technically using insulting words. She knows how to disrespect you and act cavalier and coy while doing it. She also knows what stories and what situations to bring up to get you to fly off the handle.
Because
they want
you to share, and then unfortunately they could then use those vulnerable stories that you've talked about, or whatever, because they want that out of you. They use that then against you, and then they're shocked when you don't talk. But anyway, sorry, I detracted there.
100%. It's so frustrating, man. And understand why that is, guys. Here's the truth. This is why women do that to us. Women have always been the weaker of us. They can't physically harm us.
Right.
So they developed a formidable verbal warfare to handle the battles that they fight.
Mm-hmm.
You combine that with the fact that women are slaves of their emotions, and you've got a crafty, pretty-faced devil that will destroy you with a beautiful smile. That's what you got. So how do you handle this? You handle it the same way as the other guys. You just have to remember that the only bullet that she has to fire are words. So if you just let them bounce off you, she'll be helpless to harm you. Although there is certainly an argument to be made here that we're both adults and both responsible to control our emotions, fair. In times of her emotional shortcomings, you still have to remain the rock. You've got to remain the constant, unbreakable, unmovable boulder in the middle of her river of emotions, unwavering and unbreakable. And I have a problem with that. I do. I have a problem with the irony of that. I have that problem with the hypocrisy of that. And I've got into debates and arguments with the woman that I'm with because her expectation is that she can flow this hurricane of emotions my way, and verbally cut you down and say words that hurt and harm. But the expectation for me is I'm supposed to be sitting in that sea of emotions like a rock, unwavered, as I'm allowing her to just beat up on me metaphorically. And honestly, I'll be honest, I take issue with it. If women want equality, then let's be equal. There are things that men have a hard time doing that we still are expected to do. Men are violent by nature. We're barbarians, and we have been for hundreds of thousands of years. Men are. I mean, if this was 10,000 years ago, the alpha in the room would be the guy who, sleeps with the most women and fights better than anybody else in the tribe. He's the guy that kicks everyone else's rear end. He's the most aggressive, most masculine. That's how we did that. That's how we're ingrained. Men must have confrontation, physical confrontation. Well, now the world's civilized, and men, despite the fact that we are hardwired to feel this way, the expectations is that we don't put our hands on anybody. The expectations are that a woman can wag her finger in your face and point you in the nose, and you're supposed to just sit there and take it. When everything in our minds say fight or flight, we still have to be civilized and control our emotions. So fine, I understand why that is, but my counter argument to that is, okay, well then your expectation is you do the same thing. You treat me with some respect. Whenever you get taken off center, don't expect me to be your verbal punching bag. That's just my argument. And so honestly, guys, I have a lot of the same. This is an issue that I took notes on this particular issue because I also have a problem with this personally. So you're just going to have to just kind of go into it knowing like how do we fight this battle? We fight the battle by knowing that she knows and that she can't harm you physically. She knows and that the only tool that she has, the only weapon she has that can use against you are her words. So if you go into it and you just know that that's the tactic, then it's a little easier for you to just remain that boulder, remain that strong rock, that unbreakable, unmovable boulder, and again, in the middle of her river of emotions. And not only will she eventually just kind of give up and submit, but she'll respect you for the safety you provide her with your constant level-headed leadership. Even during the times when she breaks down emotionally, they need to know that you can't break. Yes, these women are going to shit test you. Shit testing men is in their DNA, and quite frankly, it's pretty smart for them to do so. So I'm not, faulting for it, but just don't fall victim to their shit test. Don't fall victim to their craziness of emotions. Do the best you can to be her rock. Is it right? No. Is it fair? No, of course not. But we've got our flaws and they've got theirs. So be her strength when she needs it. And, by you staying on center through the tough times, you'll give your woman both the physical security that she needs, but also the emotional security she craves. So that's my advice on staying on center. And that's a tough one for some people. Another tip and tactic to use in order to be the kind of man that other men envy is to communicate effectively. One of the hardest things to do is take our thoughts and our feelings and find the right English words to appropriately express them. But a man who can articulate his thoughts well are the men that others will follow and listen to. These are the men who lead armies, who lead teams. These are the men who other men gravitate towards. There's a good reason why they say that the pen is mightier than the sword, because the right words can and have led to countless deaths in wars. And also the right words have also avoided countless deaths and wars. Communicating effectively may be the single most powerful tool to grow rich, to attract women, and to be envied by others. Since most of us have jobs, then let me give you 5 benefits to being a good communicator that I've written down here that can help you in business. Number 1, being a good communicator will help you do a better job. When communication is crystal clear, you can't help to pinpoint exactly what your customers' needs are. This includes asking important questions, verifying information, following up to make sure there's a clear understanding. Being attentive and exhibiting good listening skills will also ensure that you quickly correct mistakes in the event that the job wasn't done right the first time. Another way that being a good communicator can help you in your career or your job is it increases your sales if you're in one of those types of roles. Communicating clearly will impress your clients. If you're looking to boost sales, it's important to reinforce various benefits of your brand to your customers. And active listening will help you uncover and discover ways that your company can directly address the needs of its client base. When you're a really good communicator, you're bound to grow your customer base and boost your sales. It's imperative. Number 3, it makes for easy transitions. Companies go through changes. We know that. A lot of changes companies went through in this past 3 years. You may add new items to your product line or rearrange the way that you provide services, depending on COVID or depending on whatever. But it's important never to throw your customers off. Giving ample notice of any changes is paramount, and it's important. So communication there plays a lot into it. And also, number 4, it shows that you care. Good relationships require effort. We know that. If you truly want your relationships to be long-lasting and strong ones, you can't take them for granted. It's time to put in those phone calls. It's time to put in those emails, that communication to your client base to let them know that services will be on again or off again, or there'll be changes or whatever. A lot of times when people get frustrated, it's not because of what happened. It's because of lack of communication that no one told them. So communication is going to play a big key into even changes in your workplace. And the 5th way that it's going to help your career is it adds value to your brand. Changes that are chances that your customers don't come to you because they all like the products that you sell. I mean, they don't always come to you because you have the best widget in the world. In today's world, customers really need to enjoy their shopping experiences. It's the experience of the entire thing. It's the Target compared to the Walmart, if you will. So giving people more for their money begins and ends with how they feel when they complete their transactions with your company and they interact with the people who work there, including yourself. So add value to the buying experience by communicating with your clients. While I'm thinking about it, folks, don't forget to like and support the page by pushing the like button and subscribing to the channel. So grab your phone and go ahead and smash that subscribe button for us, so that way whenever Dad Talk Today goes live, you'll be able to be notified. Let's go over another good tip to be envied by other men, and that is to develop good habits. When you talk to successful and well-respected men, they have many things in common. And one of them is that they form good habits. They don't waste their time on things that won't positively affect their lives. They form habits that will help them level up. And you guys have heard me talk about this all the time. I'm always talking about developing habits, doing things that, and this is basically what I'm referring to is, get these habits down right. Grow them physically, and grow habits. Growing habits will help you mentally as well. The men that form good habits, they give up on the temptations of life and meaningless pleasures like drugs and alcohol or gambling. They don't partake in the common pitfalls that bring down the best of men. They avoid these things. So instead, form habits that will not only impact your life in a positive, only impact your life in positive ways. When they do indulge in fun activities, they combine their fun with a challenge that will grow their mental and physical fortitude. Things like running a marathon, mountain climbing, learning something they never thought they would learn, like a language or reading books or whatever. These are fun activities that combine both growth and fun. These are the habits that highly productive men do in order to have fun, but also learn something new. And a good way of doing that, guys, if it's something you need to work on, is why don't you start small? to develop, good habits, you'll need to start small by, picking one or two things at most. Most people give themselves like a multi-page list of things to change only to fail. Are you hearing me okay? It's like a multi-page list.
Yeah, one of the viewers had mentioned something about an echo, so I would figure I'd go ahead and do some real-time tech support here. Pulled up the YouTube channel because I am a member. I have smashed the like button, the subscribe button, and all that, so I was able to easily get there and verify if there was an issue. There was not an issue, so I'm not sure. From what I'm hearing, there is no echo. So
okay, yeah,
for the more recent,
I saw the look on your face. So I just want to make sure that you were hearing me while I wasn't talking to myself.
Yeah, I don't have a poker face. I'm not like what's her name? The thing, I can't do the poker face at all. I was sitting there going, okay, yeah, because again, I want to make sure that the podcast is the most, at least visually, audio, and all that experience possible, and want to make sure that that the viewers are not having to listen to Max Headroom or anything weird. Yeah, that was the echo comment. I just want to make sure.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
I mentioned that the echo went away. Good. Okay, so we're
cool. Okay, guys, I'm sorry about the technical issues. I don't know if it's on my end or if it's on Dwayne's end. Dwayne's been changing a lot of things, and I'm in the process of moving. That's why I got an empty room behind me. I just popped myself into an empty room to kind of do this podcast to keep things going. So it could be on my end as well. I apologize, guys. We'll push through it. But guys, when you're developing habits, just start small. For instance, like over a year ago, I committed to doing one good deed every day, every single day. For the rest of my life. So from there, a couple years ago, I started listening to podcasts, and that developed my learning habits. Then I started eating healthier during the week and allowed more fun foods on the weekends. I developed the habit of teaching what I've learned, and that's kind of why I'm doing what I do today. So those are the habits that I personally created for myself, years ago, and they've really helped me become a better person, a better man. Another thing that I want you guys to do is start to remove obstacles from your life. Some habits are definitely hard to commit to. You might live in an environment that just won't simply support the habit that you're trying to form. Or maybe the one habit that you're choosing is tough to maintain for a long time. For instance, like let's say you're committing you're committing to a doctor recommended diet or something. The best way to remove obstacles in this case would be to maybe pay for a meal delivery of the diet food already cooked. That way you won't feel overwhelmed by cooking at the end of an exhausting day, So you have to just kind of, figure out what obstacles you're trying to add in there and just make it as easy as you can. Preparing it would be certainly faster than ordering takeout from a fast food restaurant. You can you can always subscribe to like one of those healthy meal delivery services that deliver all your meals in advance, and then over time you slowly begin to prepare them yourself until eventually you transition it all to your own kitchen and you save a ton of money. But remove these obstacles that are in your way of getting you to reach the goals that you want to. Be creative, be forward thinking. Another tip would be to create balance, because without balance, it can be really hard to maintain good habits for the long haul. One simple way to create balance is to have, a couple like rest days scheduled in regularly. So like, for instance, if you go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, be sure to have your rest days. If you enjoy video games, commit to reading. Like one tip that my clients did was they don't want to give up video games, because it was a recommendation of mine to limit or give them up. And instead what we did is we committed to them reading a new book every single week. And in return, you get to have a certain amount of hours on your Xbox, for instance, So the goal is to really maintain habits for years. So giving yourself a few breaks on set days will certainly help you to stick to the goal of developing good habits.
Can I interject here?
Go ahead.
A little bit. Oh, so yeah, and what Jimmy is telling you is just good advice all the way down. Actually, a lot more I want to add to it, but he had been kind of talking with me about different things I can do to kind of improve my life. And one of the things he mentioned was reading good books. and committing to reading a book and to improve yourself. And I finally got the one I've been waiting for a while. And I started reading it just the other day.
The monster as the end of this book. What's it say?
At the end of the book.
Oh, at the end. Okay, got it. Yeah, and you know that seems a little more your speed, to be honest. You know, I mean, it's
definitely is.
Yeah,
And
I think.
Sorry, time for a joke here. This is a book that I got when I was a little kid. I've read my entire life. I love comics, reading, and all that stuff. Anyway, I was doing whatever, and I, obviously lost this book. But the way my brain works, I remember stuff when I was a kid. I try to hold on to every happy moment that I've ever had as a child. Some of you probably will understand where I'm coming from. I'm assuming most of the folks that are on. But this book was one, and I used to love reading it over and over. It's one of the first books I learned how to read on. Anyway, I had an opportunity to get the book again, and I got it. And anyway, it sounded like it would be a good spot for this this segment of the show to have a little bit of humor there. But no, I mean, you're spot on with reading books, and because when you're reading, you're developing your mind. I mean, aside from like trash novels or whatever, but you're developing your mind. It's helping you learn how to think. You read financial books; it helps you to be more centered there. And sometimes it doesn't even matter what you read to a degree. It kind of conditions your mind. It helps you think differently or a little more thoughtfully, and look at the bigger picture, look at the greater world, and do that. I mean, if you're just sitting there snapping through TikTok or TalkTick or InstaSnap and all that stuff, your brain's just why it's just mush. Burp and fart jokes all day, which do have their place. Don't get me wrong, but
they do.
Yeah, you have to. That's that balance part. You read, I read the Bible or read another good book or whatever, and then I'll pop this bad boy out and bring it in. But you got to have that balance. But reading books is important. It develops, and listening to podcasts, respected podcasters like this one, will help improve, because hopefully you'll take ideas or the nuggets of wisdom here and then execute those in your daily life and become a better person.
I wish I'd like to read more, like actual physical books. I just never really been that guy, and so I find myself listening to podcasts and listening to audiobooks far more than actually reading them. And and that's kind of me, doing what I said, removing the obstacles, because if I'm expected to sit down and read a book, I'm just not a fan. We're all the way we are, but I committed years ago to spending at least 1 hour a day to growing myself intellectually and an hour a day to growing myself physically. And I dove into podcasts years ago and learned a ton. And I'm really proud of myself for being able to stay the course and making those habits. And also when I'm at the gym, I stopped listening to music at the gym, and I listen to podcasts at the gym, so I can kind of kill two birds, one stone, if you will. So I'm able to get my hour of workout in while I'm getting my hour of learning in. So, these are things that I do to take away the obstacles that I have that are in front of the goals that I have set. So you guys kind of figure it out on your own. But I've got two final tips, and then we'll close this up on how to be a man that most men would envy. One thing too that a lot of guys struggle with, and I completely understand why they do, is guys, you have to be willing to give it all up. You've got to be willing to give it all up. There's no secret that life is tough, right? Many of us work hard to acquire luxuries in life that we can enjoy, and having certain items like a home or nice cars or clothes or whatever you enjoy or are into. We know as men, these things cost money, and some of them cost a large amount of money. And having the money to buy these things take time, and we are proud of our ability to acquire these said things. And most of us aren't willing to give them up very easy. And I get it. I understand why. There is, however, something to be said for clinging on to material things in life. The more attached you are to something, the more these things can be used against you if need be. And that's what guys have to understand. Like I'll use Dwayne, for example, because I know him as a friend. If Dwayne feels an uncertain way about the government, Dwayne knows that the more a government gives you, the more that government can hurt you when they decide to take it all away. So,
True that.
if you're more in the religious part of it, let's say you believe in heaven and hell, then you're aware that the devil will use material things to keep you weak and complacent. And there are countless stories in shows, in the Bible, whatever, where the devil literally uses status and riches to sway the hearts of men to do his bidding. So you want to be careful on getting complacent and holding on to the material things in life. You have to be willing to give things up. Be careful not to be too proud of your career, too proud of your money, too proud of material things. Because if all you are is a job with a fancy title, the moment that job fires you, your weak foundation comes crashing down and you go from hero to zero with a snap of a finger. It's okay to be proud of the things that you work for. I'm not saying to not, but all I'm saying is don't be so attached to don't be so attached that another man's single decision can destroy your life. That's what I'm saying. Work hard, but always be willing to give it all up should the need arises. Know that you are so much more than a paycheck, a nice home, or a sports car. The most envious men are the ones that are willing to lose it all in order to accomplish a goal that they have. Some of the most successful people that we all know have risked it all to build a business or to make a relationship work. Life is all about assuming risk, guys. And no one envies a man who lives his life playing it safe. Success is for the bold, gentlemen. And the men that we envy the most are the ones who publicly declare that they will pay any cost to win. Okay? They will give up everything they have to achieve the goals and dreams that they set forth for themselves. No one remembers the meek, and history books are filled with men who are willing to give it all up to win. So my advice is do the hard things, do the building in the mornings. Be an animal, an absolute just destroying animal in the mornings. Every morning you have two choices. You can continue to dream, or you can wake up and chase your dreams. Most people continue or choose to continue to dream because they don't want to grab life by the horns. After you wake up, I really encourage you to devote the first 2 hours of your day to yourself. Invest in time and in activities that will improve your life. Things like working out, reading, journaling, working on your side hustle, some of the things we've been talking about. Consider doing the healthy habits that you came up with in the mornings, because a man's testosterone levels are at their highest peak in the morning times. Men were made to be productive in the mornings, and as the day progresses, our testosterone levels actually start to decline, allowing us to unwind and rest in the evenings. We're different than women are. So take advantage of how you were built and tackle the hardest task when you're feeling the most like an animal. The morning is the time to work on yourself and your goals. So if you finish the most challenging tasks early, the rest of the day seems like a breeze. You got a joke you want to throw in. Go on.
It's a failing show, and okay, so you were okay, and very accurate info here, and you're talking about that productive in the morning and testosterone. So the morning, when you say I'm most productive, is there like any visual cues or that I'm productive that would be in the morning as opposed to the evening?
There's some visual cues. For instance, if you wake up and you're laying on your back and you look down and you see a teepee arising, just know that there are tasks and duties that need to be done first thing in the morning. Okay. There are hammers that need to be hammered in, nails that need to be hammered in. So I want you to get out there and I want you to conquer the first thing you see in the morning time. Roll over and conquer that first. You'll feel like a man. How about that? But
same time in the morning, I guess for a different show, is why did it work out to where you wake up with morning happiness and then you still got to pee? That's like anyway. Yeah. Sorry, strange thought. Yeah.
Well, you just focus on giving her the best 45 seconds of her life. Okay, so But in closing, guys, my last tip and possibly one of the more important ones is I want you guys to, this is a quality and a trait that men have to do in order to be envious, men that other people can envy, and that is to be decisive. Okay. Low tier men are indecisive. High performing men that others envy will always make a decision and take action. The man that takes action always has an edge, because in the time it takes an indecisive person to analyze every option, the decisive person has acted on it and made adjustments if he needs to make adjustments. They are ahead and always will outpace most of us in life. So we have to be more decisive. Be confident enough to make a decision without even knowing necessarily that it's going to be the right one, because that takes courage. The secret is that even if you make a wrong decision, you can always make a change and learn from it. So that way, the next time you can make a better decision. But you have to understand that the street lights of life are filled with flattened squirrels that never could make a decision. Don't be one of them. Huh?
You're in Texas now. Armadillos.
I haven't seen one yet.
You'll never see a live one. They're all dead on the side of the road. But yeah.
There you go. So the streetlights of Texas are filled with flattened armadillos that couldn't make a decision. So, watch, listen, learn, make a decision, or life will make the decision for you. Especially in this online world that we live in today, guys, we have more information at our fingertips than we ever have before. It's very easy to see how this can be an advantage. However, just like having too many options can paralyze you in making a decision, having too much information can also paralyze you in being decisive. I believe that it's important to research things that you plan on doing. I'm not saying it's not, but don't consume so much info that you actually allow it to keep you from taking action. That's all I'm saying. Action is far more important than information gathering. In life, the best teacher is life itself. The younger guys in their 20s, they spend way too much time on podcasts like this one or other podcasts, learning every intricacy before they make a decision. And at the end, they never even take action on anything, and it was all worth nothing. Okay, life is the best teacher, and the more wise men know that is true. You simply you can't. Let me give you an example. You can't simply read a book on how to drive a car and believe that you'll be great behind the wheel the first week. You can't. It's way better to get the basics of driving a car and then get in behind the wheel and learn firsthand. So, also too, did you know, Dwayne, that there are actually football coaches that will take their quarterback out to dinner, and without letting the quarterback know, the coaches will pay attention to how long it takes the quarterback to make a choice on the menu. Did you know that?
Yeah. We call it analysis paralysis. Kind of talking with what you were saying. There's two kind of spectrums. There's the analysis paralysis, which we call it in the biz, where basically you spend all your time analyzing and you can't make a decision, or you don't make a decision because of all that. But then you got the flip side. The Dunning-Kruger effect, which is that the eye knowledge, when you start to learn about something, you quickly go up the Dunning-Kruger effect curve, and you think you're an expert, and then as time goes on, you realize just how much you didn't know, and you start questioning things. You got to find that happy balance. You need to be further down that Dunning-Kruger effect bell curve, and then not fall into analysis paralysis, and balance that one.
It's
crazy. It's like, whoa, what the hell is this redneck talking about? Dunning-Kruger effect? Yeah, anyway, sorry.
I thought it was interesting when I heard the story about the quarterbacks and the coaches and stuff. I mean, these coaches will actually make a decision on whether or not, how do I say this?
Yeah.
The quarterback's ability to choose food quickly,
right,
has been the deciding factor on whether or not they got the position on the football field. Yeah. So and I guess I can see why. I mean, these quarterbacks, they've got 3 seconds at most to make a decision on who they're going to throw the ball to, if they're going to run, that kind of stuff. So I get it. But my point of all this is that we've got to make decisions. Some of you guys are information overloading when you really need to be out there letting life teach you instead. So, just guys, just be the man that others envy. Think quickly, make a decision, and stand by it. If you guys use those tips that Dwayne and I gave you today, you will become, if not already, the kind of man that other men envy. If you forget some of the things that we talked about, go back and listen to the podcast, write these things down, but absolutely be the best version of yourself that you can absolutely be, because I want the best for you. So does Dwayne. I want to thank everyone for tuning in today for today's show of the Big Show, hosted by me, Jimmy Smith. Alongside of me is Dwayne. We're always doing the best we can to try to help you guys level up and be in that top tier percent of men out there driving this world forward. The Big Show is a podcast that airs at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern every Sunday morning. We hope to see you guys next week here on Dad Talk Today as we go live and talk about another great event to help guys out there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
Y'all have a good one.